Thank you for joining XR Room, which is India's first AR/VR MR podcast. I'm your host, Eddie Evil, and today I have with us Mr. Kuldeep Singh. He's the head of XR practice at ThoughtWorks. Now, Kuldeep holds a BTech in Computer Science and Engineering from National Institute of Technology, Kurukshetra. He's a speaker, mentor, and guest lecturer at various technology events, and he's also a member and co-lead product design and development for India at the VR/AR Association. Kuldeep, it's a pleasure to have you. Thank you for being part of XR podcast. So let's just start with your background and your role at ThoughtWorks.
Yeah, first of all, really, I would like to thank you for give this opportunity to talk and share our experience on XR and what we really feel. Talking from background, since you started, you reminded me my college, REC Kurukshetra. It was then REC Kurukshetra. So I passed out from that college, and then after that, my IT career started. And mostly my experience is around being a techie who always try to bring tech into businesses. And that's where I spent at least 13 years in one organization, Nagarro Software. Coming from a background of setting up incubation centers or center of excellences organization, internal facing as well as external facing, for IoT, AR, VR, blockchain. So that's kind of experience I have from Nagarro as well as ThoughtWorks. And that landed me into setting up AR, VR practice in ThoughtWorks. That's where I'm heading now. So that's about my background.
I've been invested in AR/VR space since 2016, and the problem that I faced is like there was not much awareness about it. Either there was too much hype about AR/VR in early 2016 because Facebook acquired Oculus for $2 billion, and the news splashed all over the world. And I guess everybody got interested about AR/VR, and everybody thought that it would be the next big thing and it would impact everyone. But the ground reality was completely different, and that created a huge gap. The people I would go and talk to, about the implementation about AR/VR, they always wanted the sky. They didn't want real world use cases, which were quite practical and basic, So there's this. So that's the reason whatever I've been doing for the last couple of years is that with a singular effort to kind of raise awareness and educate people about what this technology is capable of right now and what it could do in the near future. So what got you excited about AR/VR? Why virtual reality? And can you talk about current drawbacks and the opportunity which lies in augmented reality and virtual reality as a technology?
I started in this technology around in 2013 or so.
Right.
And we have been experimenting with first Microsoft HoloLens, and we have seen that how cool that device was. But at the same time, we cannot wear that device for long. It is still, and that was the best device at that time. Still, it was not really usable for consumer. And if we look at impact of that device, that has created big awareness. Then other thing like Google Glass,
right?
We might feel that Google Glass failed, etc., but it's not. The ecosystem Google Glass has created. There are a number of glasses out there in market of similar situation, which can used for assisted reality and small overlaying on augmented reality. Just overlaying few content in that space. So ecosystem was there even before Google Glass, even before HoloLens. So AR/VR is not started recently. It is there from like even before I started my career. Thing is, it was not adaptable or acceptable to consumer. So it might be that market was not ready to accept it. And the same situation is happening in the industry. Let me talk about we did some survey in some few IT industries inside, including ThoughtWorks, outside ThoughtWorks, and a different region. What we found is, this is about IT industry. What we found is people who carry mobile phone, XR capable mobile phone, only 40%, or I would say 40 or 50% of them have tried XR application. Either they do not know whether their phone is actually supporting XR, or they haven't tried. They did not feel that they want to try it. This is the reality of IT.
Right.
Now, if you go outside, this number is, you can assume what it could be. So when people think about AR/VR, they always think about head-mounted devices, smart glasses, and only few names. We come to know only few names like, okay, HoloLens, Oculus, maybe a few more. I searched around. I want to search like how many devices are there. Smart glass. I'm not talking about mobile phone. Most mobile phone today support AR/VR. Yeah. And when I searched around head-mounted devices, how many are there in market? In 1 hour, I was able to search 200 devices from 70 different vendors. I written a blog on there is an XR practice medium publication where we keep writing all our learnings there. So there, all those 200 glasses are listed. And I was thinking only few, okay, only these number of glasses are there. Then other figure is, people are talking about like Asia is not ahead of in market and all. Only few experiments are happening in US. But looking at the data from AR/VR Association, they have a huge database of companies. 2,500 companies are there in India who are in XR space. Many are startups. All big service companies have their own department. So intention is there. Yes, investment will come based on demand, based on, it is chicken and egg situation. Everybody is in wait and watch situation. Like industry is not ready to invest more until use case comes, and use case will not come until industry will invest.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the biggest challenge. The ecosystem will grow when more and more startups will come into picture, will take it to business, and more enterprises, like big enterprises, they will invest in this technology. So that's where the struggle is. Otherwise, if you look at the tech side, it is no more a hype. It is no more a emerging tech. If you look at the Gartner's recent report, it is no more there. The technology is no more there in hype cycle. So it is not a hype now. Hype is gone. It is already in plateau of saturation, which means technology is used ready to be taken as a production.
Right.
So advancement has, if you look at this, like 2013, like last 5-6 years, the growth in the device, even HMD device, if we talk about head-mounted device, it is tremendous. From a 800 gram device, or maybe more than 1 kg device, to just few grams of smart devices, and it is coming less than 100 gram in few next generation normal looking glasses.
Right.
Like Unreal is one segment. Lenovo is putting a lot of effort there. VR side, people have experimented it. Entertainment section, most entertainment and training, they have most explored VR, and that was already proven tech. The trends is going towards enterprises. Like XR is going more into enterprise. Around 70% future predictions were moved into XR will go in enterprises. So next few years, XR's business is only around enterprises, in my opinion. Right. Consumer segment will be there, but ROI perspective, enterprises, because today this is the need of enterprises. Today, what enterprises need? They need pandemic and proof infrastructure. They need infrastructure which is more of touchless. You can do it remotely, remote working, or location agnostic infrastructure they need. They need to train their existing workforce. So upskilling their workforce. they need to work together with machine, like human working with machine together. So they need all this. And if you look at all these 4 5 points, all of these, somewhere XR is there in
Right.
all of these points.
Right.
So the technology itself will not no more be a department of a business. It need to be core of every business. So that's where the demand is. Like technology should be there in every business. Talk about small school today. Earlier, I have been actually in this COVID situation, I have trained many teachers how to create PDF document. Imagine, I'm talking about really small school in village, how to create a PDF document and share with their students. It was never a need.
Right.
It is need today.
Exactly.
If you're opening a school in small city, I am right now, actually, I moved to a small town in Rajasthan. I'm talking from that place now.
Right.
I've seen a lot of people here who come to me and ask all these questions. I keep helping them in this direction. So that's where I am realizing earlier no one actually asked such question. No one
Right.
knows that I know computer, and no one thought that it is a need. Now every day someone will come to get their computer problem get solved.
Right.
Either they want something online payment or something. So that's where, see, the business is coming. Like everyone is small. Like tomorrow, yesterday there was a sweeper at road. He asked me about how to do this online payment via Bheem app. So think
Yeah.
where the business is going, where different opportunities are going.
The world is becoming so brilliant, and I think COVID has kind of nudged us. It has not left us with an opportunity but to change. Humans have always been reluctant to change. Enterprise, consumers, there's an opportunity. You said right now you are in Rajasthan, in the interiors, but internet today has been that, like the teacher. The earlier the knowledge was available in classrooms, where these schools and institutes. Today, if you have the desire and intent, there is free knowledge available over the internet. And what it has done is that it has democratized knowledge. And only if we give internet connectivity around our rural places all over India, we will create an equitable future where the sweeper is enabled, where the teacher in these rural spaces are enabled, where the students are available, they are enabled. They will have the same knowledge which is available around the world. And I think knowledge is a basic human right, and everybody should have it. You also mentioned that the research that you did, 40% of IT professionals who have XR ready mobile devices are not leveraging the device that they have, and they don't know about the opportunities which can open up if you leverage the tool that you have. So yes, awareness is a huge issue. We've got 2,500, you said, AR/VR startups in the country now. The future is coming really, really fast, and it's not just augmented reality, virtual reality, mixed reality. There are these enabler technologies such as 5G, artificial intelligence, which is going to transform mankind, transform businesses, transform how we live, work, and play. So I personally am super excited because I think we are at the cusp of technology opening up greatness for the ones who want to be lifelong learners and change according to the times. You spoke about 200 glasses. Wow, I personally, who's been invested in the space, didn't know that there were 200 glasses. And I'm sure, I think in another 5 to 10 years, these glasses are going to converge. Your mobiles and computers are going to converge into one single wearable device. And it could be something as light as this. And this could be a mobile, this could be a computer, where we will be like the movie Minority Report now, Tom Cruise, we'll be interacting with content. So I'm super excited about AR, VR, and and thank you for doing that, where you're enabling, like teachers and the lowest, people who are really need help. So thank you for that. So can we get into a little bit of details, or use cases, which is adding value right now to enterprise and consumers?
If you talk about XR, though there are a number of use cases,
Right.
but primarily where is the business right now focusing?
Right.
First is remote collaboration. The most important need is, we all are missing our offices. We all are missing the physical connect. And XR technology is the technology can really bridge that gap. So that's first factor. How we can collaboratively work together from remote setup. Right now, if you look at the different data, Microsoft has allowed permanent remote working from home, and that will become a new normal. And every other company will be doing, like BPOs, government allowed them to work permanently, recent ruling from government. So look at that, where we all are going. We are getting to new normal, and that normal, we need to think in that normal what will happen. Let me take you interesting aspect, how human behavior is changing. Look at Uber, how Uber changed the world. Today, from my I'm sure yours also, our parents grown us with a mindset. They don't go with strangers, right? We have been grown like that, and never tried to sit with strangers. But today, things are changed. Where all the securities, everything gone? Because that become a need. The concern, for example, when Google Glass came, there was a lot of concern that people are being scanned. There is a camera inside this, and people are being monitored by other one. Someone would record them. Some legal aspects also bring in some I remember there was some lawsuit against Google and all. Like it's not legal to use Google Glass in certain area and all those stuff. Because all those were at that time. The way Uber comes, now there is no stranger. We are ready to pull. We every day we go. That was a need. And that's one business that changed mindset of people. That no, it's not about security. You have technology, you can track where the person is. You are better secure than earlier. So technology has changed a lot of mind. Now that thing of being tracked always, you are under camera and all. Now today everyone knows that when you go in mall, you are already in CCTVs. When you are in lift, you are under CCTV. So someone is always recording you. So we are not afraid of going in mall, in cinemas, and definitely COVID situation, we are afraid. But if we look at the situation, we are not afraid. And tomorrow, if someone is wearing smart glass, it's okay completely. If someone is recording, it's okay. We know that if we are using Android phone, if we are using our phone from some company, we know that all the data is being shared somewhere, right? So everything, when you connect to internet, all your single bit is being shared by, it is somewhere shared. So that afraid consumer side, that thinking of security and all those stuff is changing. Now, if someone is recording me and if I am under CCTV, I am fine completely. So that is also a changing behavior. So these smart glass and technology and wearing this technology will actually will change, definitely change in future. Today, and how I am looking this XR technology in future is really interesting aspect, that how Apple Watch or any watch is coming as a companion app for your phone. So phone is getting obsolete. Not like phone will go away, I still don't feel that phone will go away soon. Phone will still remain, but it will remain like a computing unit. Display will be display part or user experience part will be weird. Person will wear either here. So it will become all the thing like experience. And where experience is going, look at user experience part of it. How user is technology is moving. Where you need experience is going there. If I need to see something, then things need to go closer to my eye. If I need to hear something, things need to go closer to my eye. See the earbuds, they are going inside. And if something is needed in my mind, talk about brain computer interfaces. That thing need to go here, not anywhere else. If something need to go in my hand, I'll wear here. Something in go in my clothes, I'll do that there. So that's where technology is going. People will wear it. That's how future is going. And definitely to control this, you need a processing unit. People will wear that processing unit. I still see this phone is being compute unit and everything else is accessories of the phone.
Right.
So,
You got two extremely beautiful and very, very profound points. I mean, A, people will be wearing technology because it's going closer and closer. And B, human behavior is changing because of technology. And I hope that businesses and individuals understand this huge transformation that we are at the cusp of, and also understand that this transformation will open up huge economical opportunity. Now, how the choice you make will decide your future. You also spoke about remote collaboration and remote work. I think augmented reality, virtual reality, mixed reality is that technology which will make geography history. And I've said this earlier because you mentioned about Microsoft. Microsoft has done one of the most weirdest thing. They have given a work from home option for the employees forever. How transformational is that? And Facebook and Google is obviously given it till next year, but possibly they are understanding the impact. There is this company called EXP Reality. I'm sure people must have heard about it. It's a real estate company. It's a unicorn. It's a $1 billion company. They have around 20,000 plus staff. What they have done is that they have distributed VR headsets to the entire staff, and they have created a virtual office, an office in virtual reality. Now, all of their agents, they're sitting in different parts of America, they connect with their clients, engage in business, close deals virtually. They don't have a physical office space. So just imagine the cost that they have cut down in logistics. No office space, no travel. That's the reason they are $1 billion company. Now, if these these enterprises understand and are willing to take that step, because I guess what has happened with COVID is that it's created that opportunity. But on the other side, I see like a catch-22 situation where they're holding on to their pockets, thinking about the long term. So creating, like, being safe and secure. In the process of just being safe and secure, maybe those small startups will take those risks and maybe leave behind these big companies. So it's a choice which I think these big companies have to take right now, rather than waiting for it to give you those huge use cases. Maybe they should start exploring right now, because digitization has become the most important tool or strategy for a company to survive and reverse the COVID impact. Currently, this technology is being enabled by 5G and artificial intelligence and things like that. Would you like to talk a little bit more about that? How 5G and artificial intelligence in the next few years will impact augmented reality, virtual reality, and mixed reality?
So definitely that is the biggest enabler for this technology. Just like from hardware side, now devices are more capable. external battery power and all those stuff, hot swap batteries and all are adding a lot of value to these devices. But the kind of right now, what is the challenge in these devices? For example, if you talk about be it Microsoft HoloLens or Magic Leap or Think Reality headsets or any other, accuracy is the problem. Right now, if you really need to do precise operation, for example, let's talk about healthcare use case. If I want to use this device, an XR use case in operation theater, to superimpose a CT scan, a 3D CT scan on a person, if there is a millimeter distance problem, and if I start operating based on that, it is a huge mistake, right? So wherever the precision is needed, these technology are still very good for trainings and all, but for actual execution, that's where the problem is. What is the challenge? Why these technology are still not there? Because you need lot of machine learning environment which can learn your environment, and your environment is changing every millisecond or second. Your environment is changing. You have lighting condition, you have sound, you have dust, rain, sunlight, and all lot of stuff, and you're changing. That machine need to learn that environment and then react. Right now, the algorithms which we have, SLAM algorithm generally, which actually simultaneously learn and map the environment and tell you where exactly your device is with respect to environment. And if you move forward and move your head, these devices track completely. They keep tracking where you are going, in which direction, at what speed. So that's already there. But the accuracy part is still not there. Like object detection is not proper. Though there is a lot of advancement, like LiDAR sensor has been introduced in phone now. Apple has introduced.
Right.
So that will add a lot of value. You can 3D scan the whole environment and just know how far things are easily. And accuracy is also improved. But where I feel AI and this machine learning would help is we need lot of estimation. We need approximation algorithm which can estimate environment, which can detect the environment and estimate. So wherever those precision loss is happening, that can be fed by AI to correct it automatically. So the gap between physical and virtual can only be filled by AI, in my opinion. So that is part of device. Inside device, what is happening? If you talk about outside devices, you can't have everything in the device. It is a small device going smaller and smaller. Even if we talk about Moore's law and any law, that it is reducing in size, and every few years it reduces by half and all. It is actually going more than that, but still it is less. Still, I need like this light. I need this light device, and even I don't need this. Bring me a BLE kind of contact lens, and just I attach here. And if I go further, I don't need anything. Touch something in my with brain. Do something with my brain, and I'll do from there. Project anything in front of my eye using that. I'll be ready to do that. And after probably talking 10 years down the line, or maybe more than. So if you look there, so that's where things are going. Industry need to invest in that direction. So where we are exactly going.
Right. Yeah. So industry definitely needs to look at the magical transformation which is happening right now. You mentioned about contact lens. There's this company called Mojo Lens, which is already
Yeah.
built a contact lens for augmented reality and brain computer interface, right? Everybody is onto that path, right from Facebook to Elon Musk, Neuralink. Then there is Kernel, which not many people know about, but there's this individual called Brian Johnson who has just recently released a non-invasive brain-computer interface. It's called Kernel Flow, and I think in another couple of years, what's going to happen? It's going to be completely magical. We are getting into possibly the movies which we used to watch. That's all becoming a reality. So it's an exciting time. So tell me, I mean, with AR, VR, MR, 5G, AI, there is something called the spatial computing. Everybody is talking about spatial computing, digital twin. So can you explain to my audience what spatial computing is and which industry holds the biggest economical opportunity for spatial computing?
You need to know where you are with respect to space. Our human mind is actually trained for that. Human mind know how far that wall is from me. We have two eyes, and our eyes, the signal get merged at here, and it automatically know how far things are. When we move around, our mind is trained. We don't actually fall on a table. We don't fall somewhere else. We know that how far is and how much speed we can go, and we can automatically, our body can automatically behave like that. If there is a fire, we know that what will happen when we touch it. If there is a light, if there is a darkness, will behave, or in fact our eyes behave accordingly if there is a different lighting condition. Now when it comes to spatial computing, think about a device which knows with respect to environment, it should behave with respect to environment. If you go in X, Y, Z direction with certain speed, it should behave similar to what our mind can detect. So that is spatial computing. And digital twin is digital twin, the term comes from industrial side. Industry 4.0, where connected factory concept or connected machineries, that's where this this digital twin term coined. But today, digital twin is just a copy of anything. A virtual copy of anything is, in my opinion, digital twin. But it's not just a copy. Unless we put behavior into it, that does not become a digital twin. A virtual replica of me, it's not difficult. People might be feeling that it's virtual replica of me, human, completely possible today. And tomorrow it will be like in front of you. Tomorrow I will not be talking like this. I will be sitting just next to my table. And I will be sitting there in your room. So that will be happening. And the way I speak, you can talk to me whether I am there or not. You'll be able to talk to me. So that is where things are going. That is the digital twin I am thinking in future. But today it is all about digital twin, about replicating a machine and putting that behavior. And now you talked about in earlier question like AI and ML and all, how it would be helping. Well, when we put life into that digital twin using AI and things, then it will become more usable. For example, if I copy a virtual copy of a machine, and if I want to see if I run this machine at 500 rotation per minute, what will happen to this machine after say 10 days if I continuously run it? If I want to see it, probably I do not want to try that on a physical machine and wait for 10 days. I would simulate an environment where I would do that thing. See the impact. where is the cost? I just need to simulate virtually. No physical iron goes and no material is gone into it. See the impact. And we recently given a session, I and one of my colleague Raju, we given a session on how XR for machine learning, XR for machine. That was another interesting concept coming up. We have given a use case. We have demoed one use case where autonomous car, training a machine model on for autonomous car. Now, how would you train a autonomous car? Like how you need to create a fake city, complete fake city. Virtually, physical fake city you need to build. Uber did that. Uber did, probably Google, and everyone is trying their autonomous car in fake environment where they create physical city which is a replica of some and then try to change the environment so that that car can learn and algorithm can learn. Now XR is producing another interesting aspect. Today XR is going towards real photorealistic environment, which is you cannot differentiate between virtual and real environment. That level of environment can be generated virtually. And if you look at the autonomous car algorithm, what are there? If you look at the sensors, there are a number of sensors, like there are cameras, look as eyes. Now, if you feed those cameras with a virtual environment feed, you don't need a physical car to go in a fake environment. You can dynamically create computer generated environment which would be fed to the input algorithm for machine learning, and that algorithm can train. And we have shown that in a demo recently that millions of iteration we trained, and that machine learning model get trained, and that was automatically parking a virtual car in a given environment.
Lovely. Yes, so there's so many industries which are getting transformed. Costs are being saved. You don't need to get your physical models to do that. Here, with the example that you gave, training autonomous vehicles in a simulation. I mean, it's such a beautiful scenario. Could you talk about ThoughtWorks? Some exciting things that you built at ThoughtWorks?
Yeah, definitely. Few of the things I can talk. So I started this XR practice here, looking at different challenges we were facing. For example, when I joined Gurgaon office, I was finding a little difficult to go in different meeting rooms, find where exactly the meeting room is. There are so many meeting rooms and different teams. I have been asked, okay, go in that meeting room and meet some person, and okay, Gurgaon I was able to do in few days because I was sitting there. There are 8-9 other offices in India, and when we joined, we are supposed to meet other leaders at different offices, and there I was facing this challenge. Then we built a community internally, and then we thought, why don't we fix this? What we did, we just created indoor positioning environment. We had a 2D map at each offices. We created that we defined that 2D map and defined few markers on there, like which team is where, which meeting room is where, and just like we created a user interface, small user interface and website where you can mark the area and you can define the walkable path. Now we have all the X and XY coordinates of 2D image of your office. Now we thought, why can't we convert into XR? And then we attach those defined coordinate into XR application for mobile phone. First, like you can download that app, and it was so easy. You just search number of meeting room. It will give path, indoor path, just in XR. You just need to go like this, and it will show you exact path and arrows, and some goodies were following. You just need to follow that virtual person in that XR world, and it will take you through all the interesting path and all those stuff. Other things like customizing a car, customizing your different products. You see them, rotate them, and assemble them, place them, just like what most furniture companies or use cases like try before you buy. All those use cases we have built. A lot of thing is there. Then recently we did another interesting stuff. We had our customer due to COVID. Most of our business people were feeling like less capable when they are talking to client. It was like they do not have great connect, because we have great habit to use whiteboard and get the problem on whiteboard and solve it together and partner with the customer to solve it together. Now, without a whiteboard, we are finding difficult. We don't have all the tools with us, and we are like finding ourselves without the gadgets. That's where we bring another concept that is like Thought Arena we built. That is more of a remote collaboration tool. And how it is working, it is a virtual whiteboard. You can place that whiteboard anywhere, and you can apply stickies. People can remotely attach stickies and change them, can also do audio video sticky on top of it. And then there is a whole workplace to actually discuss. You can discuss particular sticky, change it, and then add other idea. For example, today, if you want to do ideation session, I can open that app. You can also come join that particular room, and you can place that whiteboard as per your comfort, and I'll place as per my comfort. And whenever I'm done, I'll just close the app. That whiteboard will be with me. That whole whiteboard of whatever size I want will always be with me in my pocket. Tomorrow, if I want to open that same whiteboard, place it in your cabin, I'll place it and we'll work together. So that created another interesting usability experience area. And we did, with that product, we did a lot of user research on this. We tried this product with a lot of people and find how people are finding, what should be the real user experience, whether it would improve productivity or quality of work or not. So all those data we have collected. So I'm telling you all these things that we are doing for internally, but there are a number of projects we are doing for clients. We are helping them to build enterprise XR solutions, and there are good number of pipeline we have, and that's a great going thing. We are enabling our client to bring that XR thing. And if you look at the ThoughtWorks history, ThoughtWorks is pioneer in building agile software development. We are the first few people who defined agile manifesto. If you look at our practices, how software should be really built, that's in the key focus. We have been thought leadership in that area to defining to guiding industry that this is how you should be building software. Practices like test-driven development, extreme programming, that is being experienced at ground here. So that's a really different aspect here. So that culture is already there. All these standards, practices of software industries are already there. And there are a number of products like Selenium, automation testing framework, GOES, Mingle for agile platform. All these are open sourced. They are very well used product in market, and they are all open sourced by ThoughtWorks. So if you look at the capability and that practice side, ThoughtWorks is already doing that. Now, what my focus is, bring all these practices in XR. Like, for example, how would you do test-driven development for XR? Because if we look at the XR's AR/VR specifically, it is coming from gaming background. If you look at the technology side, be it any physics engine, Unity, Unreal, the technology is from gaming side. Though business might be looking XR is differently, but look at the tech. or the developer, they are all coming from developer or business analyst. They are all coming from gaming. Now, bringing them to enterprise is another challenge. So that's where we are filling the gap. How would you really develop enterprise solution? You can't develop enterprise solution same way as you can build a game. So that's where our focus is, and that's where we are actually progressing. And we have been giving a lot of thought leadership in that. Our insight, I have recently published a couple of articles on ThoughtWorks Insight. Medium, we started like 6 months ago. We started a publication on Medium. It has now 85 plus article on XR. So people are contributing there. Now outside ThoughtWorks also started contributing on that kind of publication. So this is going, I think, very smooth. So yeah.
Thank you, Kuldeep. It was a pleasure and honor to talk to you. So would you like to end with how excited are you for AR, VR, MR in the next 5 and the next 10 years, and what's the future roadmap for you and ThoughtWorks?
Definitely, I am looking. If I look 10 years after me, I am looking myself wearing contact lenses. I want to get rid of this glass, and I do not want to carry phone always to use things, and I want everything which I need. If my eyes need something, it should be here. So I already talked about that's where I'm looking myself at after 10 years. And other thing from ThoughtWorks perspective, where our goal is ThoughtWorks, we definitely want to create a great impact with sharing thought leadership, and we want same from other enterprises, and that's a partnership game. I want to end that any technology, today's technology, like be it XR, be it IoT, blockchain, this is all about partnership game. Let's come together and take these technology and help mankind to solve real problem and revive from COVID using technology.
Yes, I think we're living in exciting times. The technology around us, if we leverage that, we will be able to grow exponentially. That's the reason, if you see, even Elon Musk is trying to build Neuralink to create a symbiosis or relation between a human and a machine, because our brains have not evolved much. Though we have a neo frontal cortex, it's not really growing, but the machines are growing exponentially. With the CPUs, GPUs, TPUs addition, it is growing. Now, how do we take that tool and leverage those tools and do it in a nice way? We'll chart the course of humanity. I think we're living in excellent times, and I think industries, consumers need to understand that there is this new things which are happening, leverage those things, and I think we'll enter a beautiful future. So thank you, Kuldeep. It was a pleasure and honor to talk to you. And to my listeners, if you like what you see and hear, please press the subscribe button. Until next time, see you guys. Bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you, Kuldeep.
Thank you.